Hey devs! Ever wanted your buttons to explode? Today, we'll make a button that bursts into colorful particles every time you click it. Let's make WinForms a little more explosive. After we created a WinForms project, like always, we start with a particle class. Each particle has a position, velocity, color, and a life counter that counts down to poof. So nothing complicated. After that is done, we add some variables to the form. Just a list that we can fill with our particles from the new created class, a timer and a button. That's all. We add also some stuff like button text, location and timer interval. Also 2 events for the button click and timer tick event. Let's fill both events with code. I will explain it after it's done. Alright folks, let's break down what's happening here, because this is where the real magic explosion happens. First up, we've got the timer_tick method. Think of this timer as the heartbeat of our particle system. Every tick, it updates the position of all those little particles flying around. Inside the loop we go through the list backwards, because sometimes we're going to delete particles, and looping backwards keeps things safe. Particles I. Position equals. Here we move the particle based on its velocity. Basically, we're saying, take your current spot, add how fast you're moving, and boom, that's your new spot. Particles I. Velocity equals, plus 0.2 f. This line is gravity. Yeah, even in WinForms, gravity exists. Each frame the particle's y velocity gets a little boost downward, so they fall like confetti raining from the sky. Particles I. Life. Life is like the particle's energy bar. Each tick it loses 1 point. When it hits 0. Game over, particle deleted. If, particles I. Life less than equals 0, particles. Remove at I. And here's where the cleanup happens. No zombies allowed. If a particle's life is gone, we yeet it out of the list. Finally, this invalidate tells the form, hey, something changed, repaint everything so we can actually see the new positions. So yeah, timer_tick is like the physics engine and the janitor rolled into one. Moves stuff, applies gravity, and sweeps away the dead particles. Now let's talk about the btn_click method. This is the fun part, the explosion trigger. When you click the button, we spawn 50 brand new particles at once. First, we create a random RND so that every particle has its own unique vibe. Then we run a loop from 0 to 50, and each time we add a new particle. Each particle gets position equals btn. Location, they all start right on the button, like fireworks launching from the same spot. Velocity, here's the cool part. We give them random x and y speeds. X goes between -3 and +3, so some fly left, some right. Y goes up between 0 and -6, so they blast upward first before gravity pulls them down. Together, that creates this chaotic explosion effect. Color, and of course, we make them rainbow by picking a random RGB value each time. So every time you click the button, you're basically pressing a confetti cannon. The button doesn't just click, it celebrates. Quick recap for the viewers. Timer_tick updates all the particles, moves them, applies gravity, deletes them when dead. btn_click spawns a colorful explosion of new particles right from the button. And that's how we turn a boring WinForms button into a party starter. And now, let's talk about the part that makes all the magic actually visible, the OnPaint method. This method is like our artist. Every time the form redraws, OnPaint grabs a paintbrush and says, alright, let's draw some particles. We loop through every single particle in our list. For each one, we create a brush with its unique color. Remember, every particle had its own random color when we created it. Then, with fill ellipse, we draw a little circle right at the particle's position. The size here is just 5 by 5, so they're tiny glowing dots. Put it all together, and what do we get? Every tick, gravity moves them, their life decreases, and OnPaint redraws them in their new spot. That's how we get this beautiful, colorful explosion that feels alive. Here's something fun you can try. Change the circle size from 5 to maybe 10 or even 20, and suddenly your explosion looks like giant bubbles. Or shrink it down to 2, and it becomes fine glowing dust. So yeah, OnPaint is the final brushstroke that turns our code into living fireworks on the screen. Pretty sweet, right? Okay, before we go any further, there's one line you should always remember when working with animations. Without double buffering, every time the form redraws, it paints directly to the screen. That causes something called flickering. You'd actually see the screen updating line by line, and it looks really ugly, not what we want for smooth magical effects. Double buffering fixes this. Instead of painting directly to the screen, it first paints everything on a hidden off-screen canvas, and then swaps it in one go. The result? Ultra-smooth animations without flicker. Think of it like a magician's trick. Behind the curtain, all the messy setup happens. But when the curtain opens, boom, the audience only sees the perfect final picture. So yeah, don't skip this one. Double buffering is your secret weapon for making WinForms animations look buttery smooth and professional. So, what do we get? Every click feels like a mini fireworks show right inside your WinForms app. And now here's the challenge for you. Try changing the number of particles from 50 to 200, or play around with the gravity value. You'll see your explosions transform instantly. If you like effects like this, smash that like button, drop me a comment about your wildest UI ideas, and stick around, because I've got even crazier WinForms magic coming your way. I'm A. S. Sharpdev, and I'll see you in the next one.